Hey, Richard here, Tennis Hacker. Today, I want to talk to you about tactics. And really, I want to give you one simple tactic, and maybe it's more of a case of breaking a bad habit, but one simple tactic that's going to help you win more points and help you win more matches. Now, I've been relearning to play again left-handed, and because of that, I've been playing against people that I wouldn't necessarily have played against before. So I've been playing against players that are kind of a 3-5, 4-0, low-level 4.5 standard. And something that has become really clear, and it's a pattern that I've seen from a lot of these players, is they continually go for a shot that they can't hit. They just do it over and over again. And they basically donate you 3 points instead of keeping the rally going. Now, I want to talk about this from a couple of perspectives, and the first one is kind of the bad habit perspective. Now, obviously, when you're playing tennis, you want to continue to improve, you want to try and develop your game to help you become a better player so you can, win more matches. But when you're in the process of doing it, a lot of it's about confidence. If you get a short ball, you've constructed a nice rally, you get a short ball, an easier ball, and you go for it, and you miss it, that's okay, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you then do it again and again and again, what you've got to understand is that within that within that match, you're not suddenly going to develop the ability to start crushing those balls. If you had the ability to make that ball consistently, you'd have made it in the first few tries. So you've really got to try and avoid the mental trap of going for a shot over and over again that you know that you can't hit. This really comes down to kind of a shot selection, discipline, mental toughness kind of thing. And you've probably experienced this yourself. I know I've been there in the past. You get the first opportunity for that short ball, you step in, and you miss it. And then on the next one, you're like, okay, I'm going to make it this time. And then you miss it again. And by the third or fourth try, you see that opportunity, you're stepping up to it, and you're already kind of worrying in your head. You're going, oh, I'm probably going to miss this one again. It's going to sail long. And when you start to think in that cycle, well, guess what? You are going to miss that shot. So you've basically got to try and break that bad habit. You've got to understand it for what it is, and you've got to avoid falling into the trap of making excuses, because when I'm playing against these players, I have these conversations with them because I'm a coach at heart. I want to try and help them, even if it means that they beat me. So I try and give them suggestions about what to work on. And the normal response is, oh, no, I don't care. It's just a practice match. No, that's not the way it works. You can't deceive yourself into thinking that you don't care. If you're out there practicing day in, day out, you obviously care. You've got to accept that you care and not use that as an excuse for missing shots that you shouldn't be going for in the first place. So that's a trap you've really got to avoid. You obviously care. You've just got to break the habit. You've got to consciously say to yourself, okay, when I get that opportunity, I'm just going to, and it could just be a case of taking the pace off it. Instead of trying to hit it as hard as you can, it might just be bringing it down 20, 30%, placing it a little bit better. It might be a case of just going for a bigger target, so you can still hit out at it a little bit, but instead of trying to crunch it back down the line, aim for a slightly bigger target back into the center of the court and build your confidence. And then that's going to turn into a positive cycle rather than the negative cycle that a lot of players tend to get into. So it's a really simple tactic, but honestly, it's amazing how often that people just donate you points by hitting a shot over and over again. If you can't make a shot with your present ability level, that's okay. You've got to rein yourself in, you've got to be more disciplined, and then obviously you've got to work on your technique, you've got to work on your ability level to try and kind of increase it, so then you can start to execute those shots. Now here's where things can get a little bit tricky, because it's not quite that easy. There's a lot of videos out there that tell you how to crush short forehands. They break down the checkpoints for the different strokes and say, if you just do this, you're going to be crushing the ball and you're going to be hitting it like the pros. But if you've been playing tennis for a while, you already know that it isn't that easy to do. If it was that easy, we would all be professional tennis players. And because I'm making this video for you, I'm obviously not a professional tennis player, and I've been playing the game for 28 years. Tennis is hard. Every single shot that you hit is different, and the chances are you might have actually run up against something that's holding you back, basically a limiting factor in your ability level. And for most players, this is about hand-to-eye coordination. Look, You've got different techniques in tennis. There are specific biomechanical elements that have kind of evolved to improve the likelihood that you're going to be able to make strokes. But ultimately, it's about your ability to control the angle of your racket head at the moment of contact. So when you get these short forehands, or whatever ball it is, you're stepping up to it, you've got an idea of what shot you want to hit, you've got to judge how far the ball is away so you can set up in the right position, you've got to start your swing at a specific time, and you've got to adjust your swing based on the speed of the ball, the speed of your shot that you're going to hit, and then you've got to control the angle of your racket head. And there are those technical elements that can increase the likelihood that this is going to work well. But sometimes the ball moves in the air, it reacts off the court in a certain way, it takes a bad bounce. There's a lot of different variables at play, and you have to be able to control your body and you have to be able to manipulate things. And it basically, there is the technique, but it comes down to your level of hand-to-eye coordination. So what you might find, if you've been practicing for a while, you've been working on your technique, and you're still not able to execute certain shots, it probably just means that you don't have the hand-to-eye coordination to be able to execute that shot. And really, that's something that you're going to need to address if you want to continue to improve and to play at a higher level. But the good news is that's something that you can actually do. I've created a masterclass to explain the process and kind of walk you through the steps involved. So if you are serious about improving your game, if you're frustrated because you're not able to execute these shots in the way that you want, you definitely want to check that masterclass out. There's a link down in the description. It's going to teach you about brain-based training so you can increase your ability and become a better tennis player. So while you're checking that out, step out on court, be very conscious with it, play a sensible game. It doesn't mean turn yourself into a pusher and just float the ball back. It means just be a little bit sensible, more sensible with your shot selection, build confidence, create a positive cycle rather than making yourself feel bad, going away frustrating and then repeating the process over again. Okay, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, leave a comment down below. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, make sure you do that, and I look forward to seeing you next time.